Usman needs the adhesive to work. If not, his day will be a disaster. So, Usman, if you really need some...
Okay, assalamu alaikum to everybody tuning in. Welcome to Abrahamic Exchanges with your host, Zain Hussein, and your host, May Anwar. Today, we have an amazing guest, Emmanuel Ejefo. It's lovely to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here too. My name is Emmanuel Ejefo. I am a Roman Catholic priest from Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria. Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the 54 countries in Africa, and it is in the West African region. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. What are you studying? You're studying here, right? You're
Yes,
studying
yes,
what are you
yes,
doing
for
here?
an MA in Religion and Global Politics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what led you into studying religion and global politics?
Two reasons. One, the peculiar situation of Nigeria. Yeah, it's a very religious country. We like to call ourselves a very religious country because the country is almost equally divided between Muslims and Christians.
Oh.
Yeah, in numbers. Yeah, Nigeria has about 190 million people.
Okay.
And you have about 85 million Muslims and 85 million Christians, and then a small percentage of indigenous worshippers. So it's really, we call it the greatest Islamo-Christian country in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so somebody's calling in. I'm going to take this call, but if it's irrelevant, I'm going to shut it. Okay. Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Okay, so the previous show is over, so I'm going to... What are you calling for?
Yeah? Nasheed.
Oh, no, okay, so sorry, the Nasheed show is over. Please phone back this evening, okay? Okay, assalamu alaikum. Okay, so this happened last week as well. Somebody phoned in at the wrong show. And so whenever that happens, I'm just going to shut the phone because I don't know when the next show will be. So you were telling us a little bit about Nigeria and the faith situation there.
Yeah.
And, so...
That was what led me, the first reason I decided to choose religion and global politics, because I wanted to understand the dynamics of religion in a democratic society, how people of different faiths can live together and promote the unity, peace, justice in society. Because you see, the issues that we all face as human beings are the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or Muslim, you are hungry. There's no Muslim kind of hunger and a Christian kind of hunger.
Yeah, exactly.
You are poor. There's no Christian kind of poverty and a Muslim kind of poverty. Yeah. When there's injustice in the society, it is suffered by Muslims and Christians. When there's poverty, when there's unemployment, people of all faiths suffer it. So we need to join our hands together to build a working society, a society that works for the good of everyone. So these were the issues I had in my mind, and I really wanted to explore it at an academic level.
And are these really big issues in Nigeria at the moment?
Obviously, there are really big issues in Nigeria, really big issues, because there are a lot of issues that bring division among Christians and Muslims in Nigeria, but there are also many other issues on which we are united, so... That's
really good. May, do you have any questions for Emmanuel? I'm sorry, Emmanuel, could you speak closer to the mic?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It's not a question, but just like an insight. Before I would say just basically a long time ago.
Okay.
If I'll be really, really honest, I never actually knew there was a Muslim community in Nigeria.
Okay.
I actually generally thought it was just predominantly Christianity.
Okay.
And until when I go to Salah, not postgraduate or undergrad,
okay.
I actually met Nigerian Muslims, so I was taken by surprise that there is actually a Muslim community in Nigeria. But I never knew it was quite large as well.
Yeah, and also I had not a friend, but somebody I knew in my high school.
Okay.
A girl who was Nigerian.
Okay.
She was a Christian, but she told me her uncle was an imam, which just blew my mind. And also her mum was Christian and her dad was Muslim.
Yeah.
And apparently where she comes from, it's like quite common for that sort of mix to happen.
Yeah.
Because over here it's almost, unspoken of for like a Muslim woman to marry a non-Muslim man. It's, in our community, it's like, it's not very common. But, one thing that really gave me a sense of like how many Nigerian Muslims there really are. I know it sounds silly, but when I was on the Hajj, and I saw a lot of Nigerian people, particularly women, who were wearing clothes with the names of their states on the back of their, on the back of their tops, and so I saw that Katsina State was one of them. I don't know. I learned a few names.
Yeah, that's good.
I met somebody who was who said he was a politician in Nigeria as well, and he was talking to us about like the problems, the social problems that he has to deal with there. And so, it was very insightful to have that conversation. But I want to ask you also, a strange question. What is Christianity like in Nigeria?
Christianity is very, very strong in Nigeria. Yeah. I mean, looking at the numbers, it's quite a huge number, a huge proportion of the population that is Christian. Yeah, but they are divided into different sects. So you have Anglicans, you have Catholics, you have Presbyterians.
Which one's the biggest?
The Catholic Church is the biggest, with about 25 million followers. Yeah.
And before we actually started this interview, Emmanuel was shedding some light on Catholicism and sort of, taught me things that I didn't know about it. So, there are different types of Catholicism.
Yeah. The Catholic Church is made up of 22 independent churches. The Roman Catholic Church is just one of the 22. And each of these 22 different churches have their own theology, their own spirituality, they have their own religious heritage, their own traditions, their ways of worship, their hierarchical structure of authority. But they all are part of the one Catholic Church. At the end of the day, they have their common allegiance to the Holy Father, the Pope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then what might differ, like, I don't know, because before the show you said that the allegiance of Roman Catholics was to Rome. What does that mean?
The allegiance meaning we all recognize that the Pope is the spiritual leader of all Catholics, irrespective of the church you may belong to, which let me say, irrespective of the brand of the Catholic Church that you belong to.
Can you give some other names?
Okay. We have the Maronite, Catholics. We have the Coptic Catholics in Egypt. And we have the Orthodox churches, a number of them who are in the Orthodox churches, whether it's in Russia or whether it's in Greece.
Right.
And then we have the Syro-Malabarites, that's in India.
Okay. Okay, so it seems to be very, very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse, but very rich in terms of spiritual patrimony. All the elements of their theology and spirituality that they bring to the common pool. It's very rich and interesting.
But they are all answerable to the Pope?
Yes, at the end of the day,
so that's sort of the largest group of Catholicism in Nigeria.
Roman Catholics.
What might differ is, would there be like a difference between Roman Catholic, I don't know, religious practice in Nigeria and Roman Catholic religious practice, say, in the UK?
Absolutely, because the Catholic Church in Nigeria is inculturated. That's a word that we use to express the dynamism, the relationship between faith and culture. That when we become Catholics, we don't throw away our culture. We are coming from a cultural background. Are there elements of our culture that we can bring into our faith in the way we dance, in the way we sing, in the way we worship, the kind of clothes that we wear, and all of that? So people bring a lot of that into their faith. And so it's quite, you find newness, freshness, and a certain kind of richness in their expression of faith. Nigerians are a very expressive people, so you see them dancing in church, but you won't find that here in the UK. It's quite solemn and simple, but so
May, don't you agree?
Yeah, really interesting because, like, as a Muslim, that's something I have
Yeah.
experienced because we do have something like culture in Islam. Like,
Yeah.
I'm South Asian,
Yeah.
but like if I were to compare myself with an Arab or Turkish or so on, there are some differences.
Absolutely.
Like we have a bit of a cultural element. Like for example, the way we believe. I have noticed that like it's not very orthodox Islamic perspective.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, for example, let me think. Like for example, we believe like nudders and stuff like in like we have a charm, but like
Yeah, and a lot of Muslim cultures have like different ways of doing things like that. Also, ideas related. I don't know. We have also some people believe in some cultural ideas related to like divorce and marriage, and that are not necessarily part of Islam itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're already a good time in. We're going to take a break now. So thanks for tuning into Abrahamic Exchanges, and we'll be back after the break to talk a little bit more about Christianity in Nigeria and interfaith existence in Nigeria. So thanks for tuning in.
That's fast, flexible, and strong. It can be used anywhere, even underwater. For more info, ct1limited.com or follow us on Facebook or ring us on 0208 555 1448.
In an age of technological advancement, mass communication and social media, having the right website and app can be the difference that your business needs. AppSite Tech are here to take your business to the next level. No matter how simple or how sophisticated your requirements are, our technicians will work with you to create a bespoke website and app for your organization. Call us now on 0753 808112 or visit appsitetech.co.uk and book your free consultation now.
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for the 6-ounce Mexican or the 10-ounce Texan, or you decide to go for our messy fries or buffalo wings, one thing you're guaranteed is quality. We've also got a range of desserts including our trademark shakes in all your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan FM 2018,
the voice of British Muslims.
Hey, तैनू 20 बारी आके तक क्रिकेट ना खेलिया कर तो फिर विंडो पंच हो रही है.
Don't worry, Dad. Our windows need changing anyway.
हाँ तो पैसे तू दे से ना.
Nah, don't worry, Dad. UK Windows will sort it out.
UK Window? Oh, कौन है ना?
They're the best double glazing company about. They do windows, patios, French doors, sliding doors, UPVC, aluminium, you name it. They've got it. We can go see them.
Okay, assalamu alaikum to everybody again. Welcome to Abrahamic Exchanges again with your host Zain and co-host May Anwar. We have with us in the studio Emmanuel Ojefo. He is a priest from Nigeria, talking a little bit about interfaith dialogue in Nigeria, different religious communities in Nigeria, how Christianity is practiced in Nigeria, and interfaith issues in Nigeria. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about other communities aside from Christians. So you mentioned there were Muslims and also the folk religion. So from what what is the Muslim community? What is like the Muslim community like? How is it structured? A little bit of information.
Okay. I have very many Muslim friends, because I went to a public school and it was for everybody, Muslims, Christians, traditional religious worshippers, and people who have no religion, because sometimes we tend to ignore them, but there are a group of people who say, we don't believe in the God that you believe in. So, and I grew up in a neighborhood where there were Muslims. The next door neighbor to us was a Muslim family. My grandfather was Muslim, which is quite strange, because many people
for us it's strange.
They really can't understand that my grandfather was Muslim, his wife was Anglican, my own father is Anglican, and my mother is Catholic, and I ended up as a Catholic priest. So, from a family that is Muslim, Anglican and Catholic. You have a Catholic priest, but that's simply how God works. But you have a very vibrant Islamic community in Nigeria. As I said, it is almost half of the population, and they are predominantly in the northern part of the country. The southern part of the country is predominantly Christian, but you have a minority Christian population in the north, and you have a minority Islamic population in the south. Yeah, so that's how the country is structured in terms of religious communities. But the Muslim community is very active in all aspects of life, politically, economically, culturally. Yeah, for every two Nigerian you see, one is certainly a Muslim. Yeah. So, well, of course, you do know that in such a society there will be areas of tension, but there are also areas of common interest among Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. So you have a very vibrant Islamic community in Nigeria. Yeah.
And so, you know, I take it most of them tend to be like Sunni Muslims, or would you know?
Basically in Nigeria, majority Muslim are Sunni, and they follow Maliki school.
Okay.
So, like, for example, in Nigeria, there's like 36 states in Nigeria. Am I right?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
But basically, out of 36 states, there are 12 states that are predominantly Sunni states, and only 9 of them adopt Sharia law.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean adopt Sharia law? So
like they adopt that in, like, for example, in terms of punishment, crime.
Okay, yeah.
It will be based on the Sharia law, and
is that a source of tension there?
It's a very big area of tension because in 2001, a number of states in the northern part of the country decided that they wanted to adopt Islamic the Sharia legislation. Yeah, and Nigeria defines itself as a secular society, as a secular democracy, so it's certainly going to bring tension where some states of the country decide to adopt Islamic Sharia law. Okay. Yeah, there becomes the problem is how do you manage society where you don't have Muslims alone? There are Christians there, because there are prohibitions which will affect everybody irrespective of their religious orientation, like alcohol, setting up and a lot of other things. So yeah, it caused a lot of uproar, but it has subsided now. It's down now, but not so much, but it's really a big point of tension. Yeah.
And are these states actually implementing Sharia law now?
Well, many states are implementing Sharia law, but they implement.
So they actually went forward with it.
Yeah, they're implementing it, but it's still raising a lot of issues. Yeah.
Like, for example, human rights issue. That's what I want to express on. For example, like, because they adopt Sharia law, they kind of follow a specific punishment. So, for example, like premarital sex.
Okay, Zain.
That's the issue because, like, you do get a lot of human rights issue and case study about in Nigeria. These women are being persecuted because of they were engaged in premarital sex or extramarital sex, and like, for example, there's this woman called I'm sure you might know this person, but Safia Husseini.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was basically a divorcee mother, and she was pregnant, but because when you're pregnant and you're not married anymore, it's kind of evident enough that you show that you have engaged in premarital sex or extramarital sex. But because, it's a shame, because the man who was the father of her daughter was, his name Abu Bakr.
Okay.
But he confessed that he did his crime, but later on he retracted his confession, which leaving more focus on her. And which she be punished by
There are no take-backsies, is there?
But apparently, in her defence, she was forced in a relationship.
Yeah, of course.
And there have been case studies where women have been raped, but it's all been punished because there's no evidence to show. You need 4 witnesses to show that you've been raped. At the same time, you need 4 witnesses to show that you committed denial.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it doesn't look good for women because men get away with it.
Yeah, if the woman is the one who's getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called embarkment. It's natural because these women were underage, so they should not have to face the kind of hefty punishment.
This woman is a Muslim, right? This
Yeah.
woman you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, I can
why
only imagine, for women who aren't, or for people who aren't, Muslim in that situation.
I think being the case where a non-Muslim being fall into trap where they have to face Islamic kind of a punishment.
Yeah. Sometimes the punishment is mob violence. Yeah, because society is structured on the basis of Sharia law. When there are infractions, there are certain people who, on the basis of their religious zeal, decide to administer jungle justice.
Okay.
Yeah, and so either the person is killed or he's injured, and so. But all of that is based on the religious orientation that we are living in an Islamic society. It doesn't matter what you people say you are practicing as far as democracy is concerned. In this part of the country, we have decided that we want to live according to Sharia law, and so everybody has to conform to Islamic religious precept, whether you are a Muslim or not. Yeah, in that kind of situation, those who cannot live in that society tend to leave that place and settle elsewhere. But there are many others for whom this is their ancestral home. They have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And they are saying, why can't we follow the constitution of the country? Why do we have to adopt
and I'm guessing there are loads of Muslims who have an issue with this as well.
Of course. There are many Muslims who have issues with it.
It's a human rights issue.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Even myself, I don't agree with Sharia law because Sharia law is a man-made and not even divine law. And people who create a Sharia law are not really taking any consideration of there could be any exception. For example, in terms of a dinar, where a woman can be at a victim, but because there's no evidence to show that she's been raped, that's one of the issues. But it's not just about auto divorce. If you actually follow the Quran properly, you know that saying talaq 3 times at once is not a fact.
Exactly. People.
That's what I mean. The Sharia law is not. A lot of people kind of confuse Sharia law with divine law and assume that Sharia law is kind of both. Because it's really, really important, but it's not.
And in the defense, for instance, so a lot of the time Sharia law gets misinterpreted as well, in the case of female genital mutilation.
Absolutely.
It's a problem in Nigeria.
It's a problem in Nigeria, a real problem.
And a lot of people think that Islam sanctions that behavior, and it doesn't.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's a cultural influence. I never come across FGM in South Asian community. I only come across when I was in high school.
South Asian communities
and there was a documentary. Really, but it's not predominant.
No.
It's not Islamic as well, because in Hanafi fiqh do not actually promote the FGM because it's body mutilation. We can't harm our body, and in Islam it's encouraged for men and women to have a pleasure between the marriage. So if you're removing that from women, then you're kind of taking her right.
Yeah.
Well, this way of thinking permeates society where a lot of people are illiterate and ignorant, and then the question of what religious authority do you appeal to? Because in Christianity and in Islam, you have very charismatic young people who go about preaching their own brand of religion, and they tend to amass very many followers, who begin to adopt that kind of religious interpretation of doctrines and beliefs and practices in their own extremist way. And so they are the very people who bring problems to society. So it's a question of religious authority. What authority do we really appeal to?
It doesn't seem like there's an easy solution to this now, is there?
Of course.
Which is probably why you're here now studying. How do I improve my country is probably what you're thinking.
I think there are many Christians and many Muslims who agree that since we have defined ourselves as a secular country, we should follow the constitution, because it got so heady at a point that some Christian legislators in parliament decided that they wanted a Christian religious legislation too for Christians. Since Muslims have their Sharia law and they have their Sharia court of appeal, which is recognized in the constitution, but there's nothing like that for Christians. They were going to bring up a bill to establish Christian courts in the country, but it's still hanging. But these are reactionary. They are reactionary ways of addressing the real issues. Yeah, if Muslims have this, then we who are Christians must have it too. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help the country. The question is not really a question of if they have it, we must have it. But the question is, how do we live in a society where everybody is judged on the same law, under the same law,
yeah, exactly.
under the same
And
kind of rules.
From what I understand, Islam really pushes for this idea of like the rule of law. The law applies to everyone wherever you are. And so if you live in a country, for instance, where, something is forbidden with regards to marriage, for instance, you have to get a civil marriage in this country. You shouldn't just get married in a religious basis. You should also get a civil marriage. Nothing against religious marriage itself, but, so from what I understand from like Islamic law, that's what you have to do. And unfortunately, it is sad to see people take the law into their own hands, because especially when it comes to Sharia law, it can be really delicate, some issues. And so if you're not skilled, and if you just take that law into your hand and decide to implement it just because you want a stronger Islamic identity, then you're going to make mistakes.
Because if you're going to Islamic law, the way the country adopt Islamic law is very rigid. But if you actually look at Islamic law as a rule, it wouldn't be as complex as people make it sound, because Islamic law, according to Sharia law, that we have to abide the law that we already live in. So why are we complicating ourselves even more? That's the issue, and people need to educate themselves what is the Sharia law, what it's actually about, and what do we actually need them where we are. I mean, in terms of religious practice, then yes, that's different. But in terms of in association in the society, that's completely different.
Because when it comes to the word Sharia, the way I pray is Sharia, right?
Exactly.
But then, like in terms of like politics and stuff, that's a different issue, and that we need a greater discussion on this. But I wanted to move on, like extremism in Nigeria. So, a group like Boko Haram, for instance, how. Tell us, because I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot. So tell me who they are, and how have they affected people's views of Islam?
Okay, when Boko Haram started in 2009 in the northern part of the country by a very charismatic religious preacher named Mohammed Yusuf, it wasn't violent. It was preaching a return to Islamic law, that we have to live according to Islamic precepts. The first thing you notice is that all of this is based on a politics of disaffection. When people are unhappy with the way society is organized, and they tell people that you see corruption in politics, you see immorality in society, you see unemployment, you see hunger and poverty, it is because all of you have decided that you want to practice democracy. But democracy is not giving you what you want. So if you want a better society, if you want a prosperous society, you must adopt this religious law. If we go the way it has been practiced from the very beginning, society is going to function very well. And that kind of idea resonates in many people who have suffered for many years, who are unemployed, who are uneducated, who see a minority elite riding on their backs to financial prosperity. Somebody leaves the village today, he becomes a councillor or a local government chairman or a politician, and the following month he's building a big mansion in his village, he's riding in very big cars, and people are saying, really, is this how society should be organized? So at a certain point, those kind of ideologies permeate into very many people, and because they are uneducated and they are unable to differentiate between true Islam and what this charismatic preacher is saying, they tend to follow what they are being told, and then society becomes very volatile as a result of that. So Boko Haram started as a very peaceful sect, but with time it became radicalized and very volatile, killing people.
And how do they work? Did they like sort of take control of areas?
At a certain point in time they took control of about 3 states in the country.
In the north,
in the northern part of the country, and I mean very many local governments. So there was just perhaps the state capital and a few other places where government is still effective, but the other parts of the states, Boko Haram took over. But we still have not heard the full story. Who are the sponsors of these people?
Oh.
How are they so organized that they
Yeah.
are able to confront the Nigerian army? And
I'm
they
glad
seem
you're
to be,
asking this
yeah.
question, because people don't, people forget, where do they come from?
Yeah.
How are they organized? And, they're just...
I think people who know Boko Haram from 2014, where Chibok girls.
Yeah, the Chibok girls were kidnapped.
Over
Sorry,
200 schoolgirls were kidnapped,
Oh,
and some of them have
think I remember
been
this.
returned, but still there are 112 girls still missing.
Yeah.
And it's because for them, with Boko Haram, their ideology is kind of reject the
Western
the
education.
Western teaching.
Yeah.
They reject it, so they don't agree with the girl being educated. So they think the girl should be at home, diving for the husband. And yeah, it sounds crazy, but it's not just that, but also they kidnap just over 10,000 boys, train them to become a fighter.
Oh
so,
my God.
Yeah, I know. And
how young are they? Do you know?
They're very young,
they're
from
probably
14 years, 12 years.
Quite young.
Yeah.
I think along the route to puberty, that's when they can marry them up. And because when you start from younger, the young children are so easily brainwashed, so easily misguided. That's why it's easy for them to target these younger people.
Absolutely.
And it's sad that happened. And these girls are either being forced to get married, and not just that, some of them actually got pregnant, and some of them been killed, and that actually happened. And also the rest of the media know these agreements from March 2016 until August 2016. That's when they collaborated with ISIS. And that's why they're kind of known as the Western African ISIS.
Yeah.
That's what they're basically like.
And how have many Muslims, reacted to Boko Haram and to groups like that? Do you know?
Well, we have to be honest to say that not just Christians have suffered, but many Muslims too have suffered as a result of Boko Haram, because when it started, it seemed more like it was against Christianity. But with time, we saw that it didn't differentiate between Christians and Muslims. In fact, many politicians had to run away for their lives. Many religious and traditional leaders were killed who are Muslims. Yeah, and many Muslim families, Muslim institutions were also destroyed. So Muslims have suffered. Christians have suffered too. But the Muslims who get to suffer are those that are targeted by Boko Haram as infidels too. You have joined these people. If you come and accept what we are saying, then we'll be able to.
So it's actually quite scary for them.
Yeah.
Because Muslims, I'm not trying to compare anything, but then Muslims have to, Boko Haram puts them under pressure to make allegiance with them.
Absolutely,
you're either with us or
you're
against
against us.
It doesn't matter if you're Muslim.
Yeah.
That's
So
we've spoken about a lot. Let's go for a short break and sort of think about everything that we've come across. I don't know, it's kind of emotionally affecting me, especially as somebody who's not really doesn't know a lot about it from the beginning. So let's go for a short break, and we'll be back after a short break. Thank you.
Or follow us on Facebook, or ring us on 0208 555 1448.
In an age of technological advancement, mass communication and social media, having the right website and app can be the difference that your business needs. AppSite Tech are here to take your business to the next level. No matter how simple or how sophisticated your requirements are, our technicians will work with you to create a bespoke website and app for your organization. Call us now on 07538081212 or visit appsitetech.co.uk and book your free consultation now.
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for the 6-ounce Mexican or the 10-ounce Texan, or you decide to go for our messy fries or buffalo wings, one thing you're guaranteed is quality. We've also got a range of desserts including our trademark shakes in all your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Hey, और तेनू 20 बारी आके आता क्रिकेट ना खेलिया कर तू फिर विंडो पंच हो रही है.
Don't worry, Dad. Our windows need changing anyway.
हाँ तो पैसे तू दे से ना.
Nah, don't worry, Dad. UK Windows will sort it out.
UK window? ओ कौन है ना?
They're the best double glazing company about. They do windows, patios, French doors, sliding doors, UPVC, aluminium, you name it, they've got it. We can go see them at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, Forest Gate E79PA, or call them at 07984 440 093 or visit ukwindowslondon.co.uk.
वाह जी वाह, ये तो कमाल है यार. UK Windows.
Zindabad!
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximise the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
With over 25 years' experience in the East London area, there's no better firm to rely on than Cameron Adams Century 21 when it comes to properties. Be it lettings, property management or sales, we can assist you to ensure you get the most out of your property. Contact us on 0208 558 2000 for a free, no obligation valuation and watch us do what we do best.
Grab your taste of luxury at
Okay, assalamu alaikum to everybody tuning in. Again, welcome to Abrahamic Exchanges with your host Zain Hussein and your co-host May Anwar. Wow, we had a very emotional discussion about extremism and Sharia law in Nigeria. I can barely hold the tears in. It's really hard to listen to. But I kind of wanted to ask you to round off that part of what we were talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Over the last 8-9 years, Boko Haram has killed over 25,000 people in Nigeria. Yeah, predominantly in the northern part of the country, and the statistics are not too clear. But I think that many Muslims have suffered, even as Christians have suffered, because they started by bombing schools. The ideology, Boko Haram simply means Western education is forbidden, it's haram. So they started by bombing schools, by abducting schoolgirls and schoolboys. There are a number of schools where they massacred students. Yeah, there was a particular school in Yobe State in the northern part of the country where 59 boys were massacred in their school. Yeah, in 2014 they abducted 276 girls. Yeah, and they were Christians. They were also
and you know the
Muslims.
sad thing is, sorry, I'm interrupting, but I just wanted to point out that we don't know about this stuff here, right?
Well, because the world doesn't seem to be bothered about that. Yeah, not very many people are bothered about it, but it's a big problem that the country have suffered in the last 10 years. Yeah. With the new government, a lot of effort has been made to decimate Boko Haram, but once in a while, they still carry out attacks. Yeah, at a certain point in time, they started using young boys, schoolgirls, and schoolboys as suicide bombers.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so it's been a really terrible situation, and of course, it has put a strain on interreligious dialogue. Yeah, because there's a tendency for Christians to say, "You Muslims are killing us." But the Muslim community in Nigeria doesn't identify with Boko Haram. No. And many Muslim leaders have also suffered on account of being vocal against what Boko Haram is doing. So their lives are at risk. And for us who are Christians, we believe that we are not going to solve these problems if we go the antagonistic way, if we say it is you Muslims who are killing us and all of that. We have to join our hands together to see how we resolve the problem. So so much has been done in terms of the military effort to decimate Boko Haram, but issues of justice and reconciliation rehabilitation of those who have suffered, who have undergone this mental and psychological torture over the years, when they go back to their homes, how do they relate with their Muslim friends and with their Christian friends with whom that they have lived in relative peace over the years? So it's really a very difficult situation. The reconciliation is still a huge work to be done.
Okay.
I just want to add one more thing. To answer your question, but you have to understand that the media doesn't usually cover everything.
Yeah.
There's so many problems around the world, so many issues, and not a lot of people are aware of this kind of crisis over the world.
Of course not.
That's why, for me, I just recently know about Boko Haram, just about the kidnapping, and never knew from anything before that.
But it's interesting to see what parts of the world the news likes to focus on and what parts they don't focus on.
The only basically, it's because, think about it, it's basically a money business. So they will, it is money business.
Yeah, the global media has its own ideology.
They're not innocent.
They're just doing this to grab the audience attention. But if anything's not interesting, they're not going to capture that part in the media.
Okay. So moving on from Boko Haram, can you tell us, if there is Christian extremism, what differentiates it from Muslim extremism in Nigeria, and what form does it take?
Well, Christian extremism would be Christian fundamentalism. That's what we call it. People who hold their beliefs in a very fundamentalist way, in a very extremist way. Yeah, and so you have Christians who do not even want to relate with Muslims in Nigeria, because they believe that these people are infidels, they are bad people, and all of that. But that's not the general idea with many Christians. But what I would call Christian fundamentalism or extremism would be the belief in the prosperity gospel. That you don't have to work hard to become wealthy and prosperous in life, and there's a lot of attention given towards demonic possessions, casting and binding evil spirits, and all of that is because society is broken. So people are sick and cannot get access to medical health care. And so the tendency is to want to go to a church where a pastor tells you, you don't need to worry, Jesus will heal you. But the pastor, when he gets sick, he doesn't say, Jesus will heal me. He jets out of the country and he goes to take care of his health because he has the money.
Exactly.
So that kind of ideology resonates with many young people who live in a very broken society and who feel that if you believe in Jesus and you hold on to your faith, everything is going to go well. But there is no religion that assures you that things work that way.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of orientation we find with very many young people who want to hold their faith in such a way that they believe that they do not need to work hard to be successful in life.
And you were telling me before that some people who follow the prosperity gospel take part in corruption as well?
Oh, of course, because corruption in government doesn't follow religion. When the politicians gather to share the money, they do not say they do not say I'm a Muslim and you are a Christian. Religion doesn't matter when they are sharing the money.
I agree with you.
So and you find and that's still the same tension with how do we want society to be managed and administered, because you have Christians in public life who have access to public funds, and sometimes they dip their hand in the public till for religious purposes, maybe sponsor pilgrimages. You have Muslims in public life who do the same, to sponsor pilgrimages to Mecca. You have Christians who sponsor pilgrimages to Jerusalem. So the question is, how do we manage public life? And so you have situations where people who are in public life dip their hands into the Commonwealth to sponsor their religious causes, like building churches and sponsoring their religious leaders, their pastors, their evangelists and apostles and prophets. And you find that too in the Islamic side with the Muslim side. So society is just a race towards what I will call anarchy, because accountability and transparency in the management of public life is not taken seriously.
So coming to the point of Abrahamic Exchanges, our show is interfaith dialogue, interfaith activity, interfaith existence. Now, in the context of everything that Emmanuel, you've told us, Boko Haram, corruption, a very depressing state of affairs for many people in Nigeria, things that we can only imagine being here. What is interfaith dialogue? What does that even mean in Nigeria then?
Good. Because I come from the Catholic tradition, our church takes interfaith dialogue seriously.
Yeah.
Basically because since Vatican II was the single largest gathering of Catholic church leaders in the 20th century. And that was from 1962 to 1965 in Rome. And at the end of that council for 3 years, 16 documents were released. And one of the most important documents was the decree on the relationship between the Catholic Church and non-Christian religions. And the document holds in very high esteem Muslims and says that we all worship the one God, although in different ways, and that we have a responsibility to promote justice and peace and unity and reconciliation in society. So that has been the inspiration for many Catholics, many Catholic religious leaders who go into interfaith dialogue, because we want to build a just society, and a just society is a just society for everyone, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian. So it's a process of getting to know Muslims so that Christians also get to know us, what we believe, how we live, and how can we join our hands to promote the common good.
And I guess in Nigeria this is really important at the moment.
Very important because of the religious tensions. Very important. There are very many prominent religious leaders in Nigeria who take interfaith dialogue seriously on the Christian side and on the Muslim side. And in fact, at the national level, there is a national interreligious council. Which is the leadership of that group is made for the highest Christian leader in the country and the highest Muslim leader in the country. And so the effort that they put into interfaith dialogue percolates to the lower level of society.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
so
because oftentimes it stays up front,
and doesn't come down. So you have Christian leaders who go to breakfast with Muslims. So it's a very interesting kind, and there are many programs and activities that we hold together. We can always meet, we can always share our faith with each other. The point is not to convert anybody. It's not that we want to convert anybody, but I want to really know what you believe in, and you understand what I believe in. You may not accept what I believe, I may not accept what you believe, but I respect your belief.
Yes,
and you respect my belief, and we see how we can work together.
Is it helping in Nigeria?
Helping, really, because we realize that there are many common grounds between the two religions. If you don't explore, you won't get to know. So it's really helping, because if not for interfaith dialogue, I think that society would have been worse than it presently is. So a lot is really taking place.
Interfaith dialogue here is just so different. I don't know. It's just it's almost quite performative here.
It depends here, because multiculturalism.
Yeah.
Because it's so many diversity, and whereas in Nigeria it's really simple. It's quite simple between Muslim
comparatively,
and Christian. Exactly. So in here we've got religion, and not just religion, but within religion they have their own religion. So everyone have their own issue. So like you said, it's quite performative. So it's going to be different. Like all country, it's going to be different. Everyone have a different way of interfaith dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what I want to ask you. Interfaith dialogue, do you have anything like educational influence in a way that it kind of like have a bit of an interfaith dialogue?
Yeah, we do. At different levels, at the level of schools, because I was chaplain of a Catholic secondary school that was open to everyone. So you had Muslim students, you had Christian students of different Christian denominations. So it really works well when we, first of all, realize that we are all children of God. It doesn't our religious differences should not divide us, but should be a point of unity for all of us, that the basic trust for each one of us is that each one is a child of God, and from that point on, we can begin to address common issues. So it does have there's an educational dimension that's getting to teach young people what other people believe, how they live, and how we can all relate with each other. But it takes place at different levels. There's a dialogue of faith, meaning it's theological understanding of religious beliefs, but there's also a dialogue of charity, sharing common resources for promoting the common good. Like when people go to the market, they are not saying, is this guy a Muslim before you decide to buy what you want to buy from the shop?
Exactly.
Or is he a Christian before you decide to buy what you want to buy? So every day we are having interreligious dialogue on the street. You get into the bus, you are not saying, is this a Muslim bus or is this a Christian bus? You don't ask that.
But then, that's, maybe the point of interfaith dialogue is to address those points of tension.
But sometimes we can emphasize the points of tension to the exclusion of the points of unity, the areas of common grounds that we have, because I think that the areas of common grounds between the two religions are more than the points of tension.
What I'm maybe trying to get at is maybe in Nigeria, not necessarily to do with the religions, but to do with the things that create those types of tension. Talking about them.
So, of course, we do talk about those issues because there are studies on how Islam addresses the issue of corruption in politics. And how Christians address the issue of corruption in politics. I know civil society organizations and NGOs that are doing that kind of study, and they are coming out with important documents. And that really helps when you see that the two major religions have almost the same view on public issues, that stealing public resources is bad. It's unacceptable to God. And so we can join hands together to fight the issue of corruption in politics, because we see that when politicians steal and they share the money, they're not sharing it on a religious basis. They are simply politicians and they do what they do. So you have that kind of orientation towards interfaith dialogue in Nigeria.
That's really good.
And it works very well. It works very well. For those who are really interested, as I said, it is not every Christian denomination that is interested in it.
And not every Muslim is...
Not every Muslim. In fact, some Christians believe that you are just wasting your time.
And some Muslims do.
You get a really extreme direct Muslim that rather just focus on their own religion. So they haven't got time for anyone else other than religion. I mean, that's what I want to ask you. In Nigeria, do you have any external influence for interfaith dialogue?
Oh yeah, there are external influences, positive external influences, of course, because there are religious organizations that hold conferences, international conferences. Sometimes they bring them to Nigeria, or sometimes religious leaders from Nigeria go to attend, Christians and Muslims. In fact, last year, Pope Francis held a peace meeting at Assisi to mark the 30th anniversary of a peace meeting that Pope John Paul II had held in 1987. And Christian leaders from Nigeria and Muslim leaders from Nigeria were at the meeting at the highest level of religious leadership in Nigeria. So, and all of that is brought to the lower level, to the grassroots level. So you have religious leaders who are constantly interacting and working towards peace. But there's something fascinating I wanted to say, that in the capital of Nigeria, there are two very important religious monuments. There's the National Mosque and there's a National Christian Center. And they are separated by about 100 yards from each other. It's very graphic when you see that these two important religious monuments for the two major religions in the country are almost on the same streets. And that should say something to people that really we can live together in unity and in peace, that we can work together and that we can promote the common good. So, and in January last year, I took some of my priest friends who came from Australia. We went visiting the National Mosque. And we went into the National Mosque, we took photographs, and then I posted them on my Facebook page. And I didn't expect the kind of reactions I got from some Christians who were saying, "What are you doing in a mosque?" But the Imam of the National Mosque is my friend, and I simply called him to say, "Oh, I have these friends who are visiting. Can they come and see the beauty of the mosque?" And he said, "Why not?" And we went there, and he took us around. He showed us the places. So you see that there are very many people who just feel reserved and who say, "Let the Muslims be on their own, and let the Christians be on their
But,
own.
you know, given the situation, that can't be. You know, we need to work together. That's the thing.
Yes.
And so one of the I think the most important thing I took from what you've explained, how interfaith dialogue happens in Nigeria, is when the research that the Muslim research and the Christian research around corruption.
Yeah,
so that's coming together as a society, but at the same time coming together to tackle the real issues.
That's
what
affect
I
everybody.
Really love. That's what I really love. And to be quite honest, we need to do that more here.
Well, you need to do that more, but some of the problems we have, you don't have them.
Of course I agree with you. I'm saying in our version.
Well,
right in here, everyone just sugarcoat the whole interface, make it look like it's all good, but like we've got a real problem. We need to address those problems.
There's no parallel. I'm not
Okay,
saying there's a parallel at all. I'm saying that where it comes to like really addressing issues, we need to do that everywhere. So the time has come to an end. Osman is signaling to me, I think. Thank you everyone for joining, tuning in to Abrahamic Exchanges with your host Zain Hussein, co-host May Anwar, and our guest Emmanuel Ojefo. I learnt a lot today, and I hope those who are listening or who will listen will learn a lot from this too. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Or visit appsitetech.co.uk and book your free consultation now.
Amigos, the signature